Welcome back to Mucko Plays Kerbal Space Program 2. This is episode number 2. Last episode we went to space and then, even more surprisingly, came back without blowing a hole in the planet, our astronaut here, or our general sort of spacecraft. So, big old success there. Hey, he can come out and say hi, which is nice. I have no idea how to control this. Let's let go. And go for a bit of a jaunt. You know how it is when you've been on a bit of space travel. You want to stretch your legs. Grab his F. Orders B. Cool. Alright, so first thing we should do, I think, is to recover the vessel. I don't actually know what difference it makes if you don't do that, but I assume we get our guy, Bill, back here by doing so. So, let's do that. Alright, so mission time. I assume that's 3 hours, 35 minutes. Highest altitude, 339,000 meters. Yeah, alright, cool. It was it was a good show. The vessel landed and then landed again, which I guess maybe means we came down a little hard. So what we should probably look at this episode is for the next stage of training, which I assume is going to be about what happens next once you have been able to go to space and have a stable orbit. So let's take a look at the old training center here and see what we've got. Alright, orbits are weird. Let's find out why. So you're in orbit. Now what? There are many things to do in orbit. Perform experiments for science, travel to other planets or moons, and when you're ready, return home. Let's learn how to change our orbit.
Orbits are weird. Remember your orbiting baseball? What if you wanted to make its orbit higher? Well, it's a baseball, so grab your bat and try to hit the ball to a higher orbit. Your first thought might be to try to deflect the ball upwards. Unfortunately, hitting the ball upward bends its orbit so that it hits the ground before it can return to you. What you need to do is hit the ball in the direction it's already moving, adding to its already high velocity. Now that you've sped the ball up, why isn't it flying any higher? It just keeps whizzing by at the same height it always did. After all, I said that making it go faster would make it go higher. What gives? The ball is actually going higher, but it's going higher on the opposite side of the planet from where you're standing. You've raised its orbit, and you've learned the first lesson of orbital maneuvering. Your actions affect the opposite side of your orbit. Weird, huh? So your ball is moving faster, but it's still passing you at the same height. How do you get its orbit higher on this side of the planet? Now that you know how changes in velocity affect the other side of your orbit, you've got all you need. By adding velocity to the ball at the highest point in its orbit, you raise the lowest point in its orbit and make it circular again.
Okay. That's not intuitive. But I suppose that's the whole point of the tutorial. And kind of thinking back, that is what we did last episode. We travelled faster at the highest point in our orbit to widen the circle so that we weren't going to collide with the planet anymore, i.e. raising the lowest point in the orbit. Not intuitive, though.
An equatorial orbit is good, but if you want to travel beyond Kerbin, you will need to manipulate your orbit. Let's start with something simple, expanding an orbit. We do that by increasing the value of our apoapsis. Let's get a good view. Remember how you circularized your orbit by increasing your forward velocity? To raise your orbit, you'll just do more of the same. It's time to burn prograde.
Yeah, so I think what they're saying there is, like, originally the orbit was just an arc, Right, that would then crash into the planet. And we circularized by raising the lowest point. But that there was nothing special that made that a circle. It was just raising it, and if we'd continued to burn in that direction, we would have ended up with an elliptical orbit, but it would be higher on this side, I think.
Now that we're pointed the right way, we can increase the throttle and watch our orbit expand.
Okay. Oh, did...
Throttle. If you overdo it, you'll leave Kerbin's orbit entirely.
Okay. Did what was previously not our periapsis become our periapsis as part of that? Periapsis being the lowest part in the orbit from last time.
Nice. That maneuver raised our orbit on the other side of Kerbin, so we will enter high orbit there. Waiting to reach a specific point can be as eventful as watching the neon stripes on your rover dry. The paint job will be worth it, but isn't it better to rush to the end? Skip ahead to the good stuff using a time warp.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, the highest point of our orbit is called the apoapsis. The lowest point of our orbit is known as the periapsis. By default, your camera is focused on your vessel, so if you can't see either of these points, adjust your camera.
Why would I not be able to see either of those points? Seems like kind of always there. Okay, anyway.
Scroll the middle mouse wheel to zoom in and out.
Oh, I guess if we were like writing like this. Right, got it.
Your camera on it. Click the middle mouse button to enter FreeCam. Press home to reset the camera to your active vessel.
Click the middle mouse button to enter FreeCam. Then, hey, we can scroll away. Cool. Press home to reset. Yeah, okay, cool. Double click an object to set a camera on it.
Excellent! You can time warp to any position on your trajectory by selecting a point on your vehicle's current path, and then selecting time warp to point. Now you're way up in the sky, so high that if you circularize your orbit now, you'll be in high orbit. Wow, the black starry void looks so small from here.
So, like, outside the atmosphere was like 70 kilometers, and we're at like 300,000 now, so... I guess high orbit is a distinct sort of definition. Right, okay, so... Okay. Yep, cool, sounds good.
From command pods to space probe cores, a lot of critical rocket parts use electric charge. You'll want to design your rocket so it can generate and store EC. Most rocket engines generate electric charge while active, but we'll still need a way to keep our batteries full while coasting between maneuvers. Solar panels convert Kerbal's light into EC for our rockets. Small solar panels can just be placed, but large solar panels are delicate and must only be deployed once we're out of the atmosphere. I've equipped this rocket with 2 deployable solar panels. Here's a hand crank. Get to work. Just kidding. There's a handy button that opens all of them with a single click. Give it a try. Great. The solar panels are now extended. Light tracking solar panels only rotate on one axis, so we may need to reorient our ship to point them fully at the sun. Let's make sure the panels are getting direct sunlight by rolling our ship a little bit.
Okay. Oh, because Kerbal is the star, right? I thought they meant Kerb bin or whatever the Earth is called. Confusing name, this game. Do better with that front. Right, where the heck is the sun? It's probably that's almost definitely it. Now, which side of these are the get sun side? That looks like it. And that looks less like it. Cool. Yes? Yes, game? Yes? Tutorial is done now? Oh no, I pressed the wrong button there. Let's there we go.
Excellent. The solar panels are soaking up all of those sweet photons and giving our rocket some much-needed EC. You can see the status of any solar panel within the part manager in the electrical parts menu. You can either access the app directly by clicking the app button, or you can right-click a part to directly access it in the part manager. Getting EC is one thing, and storing it is another. Most command pods have a small battery, but many missions will call for additional EC storage. When we're traveling far from the sun or going to the dark side of a planet, more batteries means more peace of mind.
Alright, cool. And there's an app bar here which we... oh, there we go. Electrical. Hey, panels are extended. Okay, cool. Or you can right-click the part to get the same thing. Cool. Alright.
At some point, the crew will run out of snacks. Did you know a Kerbal is 99.9% more likely to crash when hungry? That's when it's time to head back down to Kerbin, a planet known for its plentiful snack options. First, let's get a better view for this operation. Remember how we burned prograde to raise our orbit? To lower our orbit, we burn in the opposite direction, retrograde. SAS can really help us out here, so let's turn that on.
Yes, let us be sassier.
Now flip retrograde, the opposite direction to our rocket's movement. When we get into position to fire our engine backwards, we'll slow down.
I have to say, one thing the UI isn't doing the best job here for me is like letting me know what direction of travel actually is. I assume it's like, here's where we're going and here's where we just were.
Alright, the rocket is aligned to retrograde. Increase the throttle and burn until our trajectory is just past the atmosphere.
Set throttle to 100. Okay.
Decelerate. Watch what's happening to our periapsis. Once it enters the atmosphere, this rocket is on a path back to the ground. Don't ease off the throttle yet, though. We're going to keep burning until our trajectory intercepts the ground. This should give us a good idea where... That's it! Let's stop our burn. Now that we're on a collision course with Kerbin, we need to turn that collision into something more survivable. This process of crashing without dying is called landing. Our upcoming stage will activate a decoupler, dropping the engine and exposing a very important heat shield. Why don't you do that now? Great. We're on our way down and our heat shield is exposed. Have you ever wondered what a marshmallow feels like when it catches on fire? You're about to find out.
Alright, and let's go ahead and learn about orbital transfers as well.
Orbital transfers. As you know, the faster you go, the higher your orbit gets. If you get moving fast enough, your orbit may cross the orbit of some other object, like a moon or a planet. The closest celestial body to Kerbin is the Mun. If you're looking for somewhere else to fly a rocket, the Mun is a good choice. The real trick to getting there is timing your departure so that the Mun captures your vehicle at its highest point. If you mistime your departure, you may miss the Mun entirely, which creates a lot of paperwork. Let's assume you've left at the right time and the Mun is there to meet you. As your vessel approaches the Mun, it enters a zone in which the Mun's gravitational influence on your orbit is stronger than Kerbin's. This zone is called the Mun's sphere of influence. You've had to go very quickly to escape Kerbin's gravity, much too fast for the Mun's low gravity to capture you. If you don't slow down, your vehicle will speed past the Mun and be flung farther into space. Remember what I said about paperwork? Once you're in the Mun's gravity well, the best way to slow down is to fire your engines backwards until your trajectory becomes a nice, stable orbit. Now you're a moon of the Mun! Ha!
Okay, that all makes sense.
Our rocket is in orbit over Kerbin and ready to fly. The mission today is to, drumroll please, intercept and orbit the Mun. To be captured by the Mun's gravity, our vessel must cross into the Mun's sphere of influence, or SOI, the zone in which its gravity is stronger than any other celestial body around it. we're going to create a maneuver plan to figure out when and how long we need to fire our engines to intercept the Mun. Great! Now here's a new trick. We can select any object as a target in map view. Targeting gives us useful information and enables new tools. Once we've targeted a celestial body or other object in space, our maneuver will provide closest pass and plane angle information. This can be very helpful for meeting up with someone or something in space. Right now, our camera is following our vessel as it orbits Kerbin. Let's adjust our camera until we can see the Mun. Then, right-click to target it.
Okay. Set target.
We want to place this maneuver plan with two things in mind. First, the Mun is in motion. We can't aim our spacecraft where the Mun is right now. Instead, we have to aim where the Mun will be after our vehicle has coasted all the way from Kerbin.
Yep, got it. That makes sense.
Second, remember how increasing velocity raises the opposite side of our orbit? Since we're placing this maneuver plan where we intend to start our burn, we should place it on the opposite side of Kerbin from where we intend to intercept the Mun.
That also makes sense. So if we burned now, our arc would open up here like this and would intercept the Mun's orbit there, if that happened to be the right time for the Mun to be there in its orbit.
Placing a maneuver plan usually involves making a best guess, and then fiddling with the maneuver until you get an intercept. Fortunately, you've got a crack navigator with you today. By my calculations, we'll want to put our maneuver here.
Okay.
Excellent! We've just created a maneuver plan. While we could find out if our departure timing is correct by just picking a direction and maxing the throttle, a maneuver plan tells us in advance how much delta V we'll need, how long we'll need to burn, and in what direction our vessel will need to point during the maneuver.
I do not know what you mean when you say how much delta V we'll need. How long we'll need to burn and in what direction our vessel will need to point. Yeah, I get that.
Grab and pull the arrows to plan a burn along that direction. This maneuver is pretty simple. We want to burn prograde and expand our orbit.
Create a maneuver plan to intercept the Mun by left-clicking and pulling the prograde marker. The prograde marker. Are we assuming left to right is prograde? Hang on, we've got some. Oh, we've got some little. Oh my god, why can't I see that thing? Little icons on there. Oh hey, ship direction seems to be one of those icons as well. What? Why when I zoom in can I just like not see that at all? That's not very helpful. No. Yep. No. Do we zoom where my cursor is? Not really. Wow, this sucks. Alright, let's assume that means prograde. Grab and pull the arrows to plan a burn along that direction. Create a maneuver plan to intercept the Mun by left clicking and pulling the prograde marker. I could do without this being here, I'll be honest. I could do with being in a different kind of view as well. Oh, hey, there's a prograde marker. Right, okay. Yes, prograde is that.
Nice!
Ooh,
that maneuver event towards the end of your trajectory is exactly what we're looking for.
That got very big very fast.
We'll intercept the Mun.
That maneuver event towards the end of your trajectory, which is this thing? If you say so. I'm less picking up what's being put down here, I'll be honest.
If a maneuver looks right, but we're not getting the intercept we expect, we can change the starting position of the maneuver by grabbing and dragging the middle of the maneuver plan along our orbit. It's very common to refine a maneuver plan by adjusting both the position of the maneuver and the direction of the planned burn.
Okay.
we don't want to maneuver at all, we can delete the plan, either by right-clicking the gizmo and selecting delete, or through the burn timer.
What is a burn timer?
Maneuvers are invaluable when leaving Kerbin. Feel free to come back and practice anytime.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can suss that out for ourselves. Right. Let's say we want to do the maneuver here. I'm not really sure why we have like a 6 direction thing here. Oh, I guess because there's 3 axes, right? Like up, down, forward, back, side to side. These icons are not very clear to me, but I think that one is prograde. So by expanding that out. Oh, right, okay, but it's not like... oh, okay, sure. This is kind of finicky because it like zoops itself out pretty fast. As in, like, the last 5% gets you like 95% of the distance. And also just like having a view where you can like see everything you need to is not exactly clear. Okay, so I think this thing here, exiting sphere of influence, okay, that's useful. This, right, let's focus. There's something that tells me where I enter sphere of influence. Not really. It's like that would be, but okay. Okay, let's just keep going and see where we land.
We've got a maneuver plan that intercepts the Mun. Now we just need to execute that maneuver and fly to the Mun ourselves.
Oh, that's fine. Executing is easy, I assume.
Whenever we have a maneuver plan, a burn timer will appear. The timer shows you how much time is left until we need to execute the maneuver. I've paused the simulation for a moment, so this number won't count down quite yet.
Cool. So we can't just be like, hey, go do this, now autopilot it there. We have to actually, like, throttle up and throttle down. Okay.
The timer also tells us how long we'll need to burn our engines at 100% throttle in order to complete the maneuver.
Yep, makes sense.
Now let's take a look at the nav ball. A new marker has joined our old prograde and retrograde markers. This is called a maneuver marker, and it shows us the orientation of our planned maneuver. We'll want to make sure that this marker is in the center of our nav ball during our maneuver burn. Luckily, we can aim at this maneuver marker by selecting the maneuver button on your SAS controls.
Oh, well, let's just do that then. There we go.
Now your vehicle is properly oriented. And through the magic of SAS and more math than I'd like to admit, our vessel is properly oriented. We're still far from our planned burn, so let's speed things up.
Where are we? Okay, where there, the burn is here. Cool.
While we could rely on our reflexes to time warp at the perfect moment, a less stressful alternative is warping to a specific point in our orbit. See this button? Select it to warp automatically to the moment before our maneuver begins. Departure burn, here we come. Great! We've exited just before our maneuver burn, and I've paused the simulation once more. After we select Continue, remember to wait until the countdown reaches 0. Then we'll go full throttle until our burn timer reaches 0. Then cut the throttle quickly to avoid overshooting our target.
Okay. That makes sense. I guess one question I have is, like, does it make sense to burn at full throttle for the entire minute, looks like, or towards the end of that, is it more reliable to start to throttle down so that, you know, if you're going at like 20% burn, then you've got a better chance at cutting it off at exactly the right point? I don't know enough about physics because I know nothing about physics to know if that would actually make a difference. You know, does burning for 10 seconds at 100% throttle, is that exactly the same as burning for 20 seconds at 50% throttle? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I am just thinking out loud here. I'm going to do what it says. Like, you know, don't worry, guys. I'm not gonna go rogue this early.
Okay, get ready to hit the throttle.
Really tempted to just, you know, speed up time. Waiting like 30 whole seconds. Who's got that kind of time? But also I've had some bad luck with the tutorials kind of bugging out if I don't do exactly what it expects. So let's just play nice, I guess. 1, go.
Watch the burn timer. We want to stop our burn once it reaches 0.
But they are at least giving good feedback here with the timer and also this thing counting down and stuff. Oh hey, our orbit is also like, you know, gonna go and match up. Right, there's an entering SOI marker there, which I didn't seem to have last time. Maybe I need to pay attention to this rather than look directly at the moon itself. Two, 1.
Great work! You've successfully executed a maneuver, and now we're on our way to the Mun.
Oh, I'm such a boss.
It's going to take a while to reach the Mun, but don't let the wait fool you. We're now moving faster than any Kerbal has ever flown before. When we enter the Mun's sphere of influence, we'll be going way too fast for the Mun's gravity to capture our vehicle.
Yeah, it's alright, we'll just slow down. It'll be easy.
To orbit the Mun, we'll need to burn retrograde once we're inside its SOI, or sphere of influence. This will slow us down enough to keep us from being whipped into interplanetary space.
If I'm a betting man, we can do that with a maneuver.
Let's start by time warping until we're within the Mun's sphere of influence. That's the sphere within which the Mun is the primary gravitational influence on your vehicle. Let's get a little bolder with our time warp this time. Farewell, Kerbin. We'll miss you. Welcome to the Mun's sphere of influence. Let's slow down to normal time so we can create our capture maneuver. Did you notice that we've got a periapsis above the Mun, but no apoapsis? That's because we're going too fast to complete an orbit before sailing past the Mun. Don't worry, we have time to adjust. Our objective is to slow down enough so that both apoapsis and periapsis are within the Mun's sphere of influence.
Got it. Okay. This is a slightly confusing concept, but we've, I think, come in here in this direction. And now because we're within the sphere of influence, our orbit changes, but we would then fly out the other side of it there, by which time the moon is going to be there. And then our orbit becomes circular this way again. That's kind of a weird concept, but okay. Right.
Remember the rule of orbital opposites. Because we want to lower your apoapsis, we'll need to place our maneuver plan at the periapsis. Let's get started.
Okay, yeah, got it. Right, maneuver plan.
In order to reduce our apoapsis, we need to slow down by burning backwards, or retrograde. This is a little like deorbiting over Kerbin, but we're going to stop burning before our trajectory meets Mun dust.
Yeah, okay. The retrograde error of the maneuver plan. I'll be honest, this maneuver plan UI is not doing it for me. I don't really get why I click there and then do this. There are also lines that just fly all over the damn place. Right, I can't see the point where we exit the sphere of influence is coming down. Oh. It's kind of hard to know what I should be like focusing the camera on right now, really.
Maneuver plan set. Next up, let's make sure we're pointed where we need to be.
I mean, you know, we can do a fully stable orbit here, probably. Not sure why I have two periapses. I guess one is our blue line, which is where we currently are, and one is our yellow line, which is where we're going to be. Looks pretty stable. Still a little elliptical, but that's probably okay. Right, yes. Orient to maneuver.
If the maneuver is right and we're pointed in the right direction, now we need to time warp to the right position.
Oh, right, because we're still here. Yeah, got it.
And we're on our way. Almost there. When the countdown reaches 0, throttle up to start your capture burn.
Let's hope this doesn't break the tutorial.
Keep burning until the burn timer reaches 0.
Yeah, I stopped burning there because lines were flying all around the place.
We have an orbit.
Okay.
Fantastic. That was some fancy flying. Looks to me like you're about ready to try this for real.
You know what? I kind of feel ready to try this for real, and I'm sure it will go absolutely as planned. Alright, well, the game is at least doing quite a good job of introducing concepts one at a time to us, and it gives us a nice next target here, which is, alright, we've been in space, we've been in an orbit, we've landed. Let's see if we can go and orbit the damn moon. Why not? Why not? Alright, here we go. Take 3. So it turns out one of the things that I've learned is that it's kind of hard to get into space and be in a stable orbit and still have fuel left to do anything. I don't know if you guys know this, but like fuel is heavy and planets like keeping you where you are. So we have gone a little bit bigger. This is where we're up to Apollo 3 at this point. Same basic design, but we've got some bigger solid fuel boosters here. And the kind of medium stage that we have one of those, a second one of those, and then we've got our like orbital maneuvery stuff there. So I'm hopeful that this should work out. I did take a look at the trip planner, which I don't know if I can get to from, yeah, maybe not. And it said it should be okay for the moon. So let's trust it. Here we go. Moon or bust at this point. If this doesn't work, then we'll go back to the drawing board. Alright, these are definitely lasting longer. I did try the same basic larger main rocket, but still with the kind of small solid fuel boosters that we were using last time. And they were pretty much burned out by this point in the trip, I think. So we're definitely doing better than the last attempt. Seems like they should get us near enough to that 10,000 meter mark where we want to start the turn. Oh, even a bit beyond. Alright, we're going to try and start turning now. I think the extra weight might make that a little tricky. The extra weight is making that a little tricky. burned out now anyway. Cool. Let's stage those. Oh, and our main engine has also done. Right, let's give us a good old boost at... that was maybe a little more than expected. Let's give us a good old boost there, and then let's cut the engines and see what we look like on the map view here. Yeah, that's a very high, but very shallow kind of arc, but that's okay. We can get ourselves up to near the apoapsis here, and then we've got nearly a full big boy engine to burn through. Let's see if this works. Make sure we're facing prograde. And let's cross our fingers and start to burn. It's going, but I'm not convinced it's going to get us all the way there. Ideally, we want to get ourselves to a stable orbit on this, and then we've got our smaller engine to use purely for the getting ourselves towards the moon. It might. It might. Oh, this is actually weirdly tense. It's not going to get there, is it? We're going to have to eat into our next engine. God damn it. Alright. That periapsis is not enough, so let's just keep burning. That's still not high enough. There we go. That should be stable with half a tank of gas left. I do not think we are going to be able to do this on this attempt, but we're in a stable orbit. That was more than I managed the last couple of attempts off screen there. Alright, let's try it. Let's see where we get to. So what's the next thing to do? It's to create a maneuver plan, and we just do that at any random point where we think maybe right. You've added a maneuver plan. Maneuver plans predict the result of a burn at a set orientation and duration. Once you place a plan, you can use it as a guide for your next maneuver. Cool. Killing more. Yeah, we have done that. Right, so we want to click here to be like, hey, what happens if we burn prograde here? We want our arc to be like something like that. And then we want to be like, hey moon, where will you be around this point in time? Answer is absolutely nowhere in sight. Oh, there we go. Okay, that'll get us there. My assumption is this is fuel. I think they called it Delta V earlier. That is not a phrase that means anything to me. Right, and the where we do it isn't actually affecting the fuel required. What it's telling us is, I think, that it's like the size of our arc. So if I lower that some... Hey, that takes less fuel. Right, so we want to find the point at which we use the least fuel to still enter the moon's sphere of influence. There, yeah? Doesn't matter which direction we do it. But we do want to be, right, yeah, keep that low. So we're entering there and exiting about there, so somewhere there-ish. And I guess part of the challenge here is that's our entry point, that's our exit point, so that's like, that's how much margin of error we've got. That's only saving us like a small amount of fuel relative to what we had, so I think actually what we want to do is just go, hey, let's spend a bit more fuel here so that we open up what is our margin of error in case we time the burns incorrectly or hit a wrong control or something like that. Like if that is fuel, we got 924, that takes 650. Say we're willing to spend about that much on there. To give us the widest margin of error. This isn't always moving when I try to click and drag here, which is slightly annoying. That looks like about the right maneuver to me. Let's try that. Right. Okay. So we next go. We're not burning anything right now. We warp to maneuver. Hopefully that's going to bring our time back down. Cool. 30 seconds till burn. We want to face the maneuver. And in 20 seconds we want to burn. And I don't know how long we want to burn for, but it's going to tell us. This is cool. We are facing maneuver. We're going to burn in 4, 3, 2, 1. We're burning. To burn for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, look at that. If I know anything about what these circles mean, and there's a good chance that I don't, I think this is telling us we're going to come and be going to shoot into the moon's orbit here, and then shoot out of it again here and resume our orbit here. But we're not going to do that, folks. We're going to get here, somewhere, here, periapsis, and then we're going to turn around and fire our engines the other way. And Bob here is going to be stranded orbiting the moon for the rest of his life? Which is, God, if that's not the dream, I don't really know what is. Right, okay, so let's just expand some time here, and then we'll figure out a maneuver right now, because I don't know, are we aiming for this periapsis or this periapsis? They're pretty close, but anyway. Let's go fast. Faster than that. Okay, we're about to enter the moon's sphere of influence. Right, we're entered and we're getting close to that there periapsis. So let's drop time down to normal. And let's see if we can suss out the maneuver that we need to do here. So the blue one is the one that we want to hit here. You're not letting me create a maneuver plan. Why are you not letting me? Oh, because this one is still... Yeah. Alright, cool. Create a maneuver plan. Right, we want to burn retrograde, which I assume is that way. Let's drag that out. Keep an eye on that yellow circle. Whoop, something funny happened there. So the periapsis is... Oh, if I change focus to the moon as well, can I do that? Target. Focus. Periapsis at about 100,000 kilometers. Apoapsis 15. Not bad, really. Drag that in a bit. Not going to tell me. Oh, there we go. 1022. 981. It's nearly stable. It's looking good. Oops. And that actually just flipped our apoapsis and periapsis, which I think means that it's got to be completely stable, right? 977, 981. It's going to take 221 fuel. We've got 263 left, so there's definitely no getting home from this. But let's do it. Let's face the maneuver. Let's warp to maneuver. And let's get ready to do that burning. Facing maneuver. Right, hopefully, yes. Burn. Go. Cut it off a little early, but I think we can just burn again slightly. There we go. Near enough. Periapsis is going to be 883. Periapsis 981. Not bad. Not bad. Right, let's bin that off. And let's take a look at light view. This is us. Somewhere around here there is a moon. There it is. Hey. Alright, I'm going to call that a success. Probably not from the point of view of, you know, the rest of Bob's life. But we speed up some time here. We're just gonna orbit the damn moon. 883, 981, that's not changing, that's nice and stable. Did it, guys. And we have, you know, a really negligible amount of fuel left, so there's not going to be any moon landings, there's not going to be any getting homes, but in terms of space achievements, that's another tick off the list right there. So that seems like a good point to leave things. Let's just wish Bob all the best in his future endeavours. And I will, yeah, catch you on the next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to more adventures with you guys in Kerbal Space Program. Cheers.